All right. Welcome to the Mind Body Energy Project. Hello, Tiffany.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Yolanda. I'm so excited now that we're live that we can hear what's going on.
Oh, with me?
Yeah.
Oh, what you're witnessing is I'm delirious.
Oh, that's it?
That's all. I woke up at 5 in the morning because I had is this thing on?
That's the answer I had to wait for?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So anticlimactic.
I know, I'm
I
sorry.
was
I've
hoping
been
for
up
more.
since 5 because I had an early meeting with someone and, it takes a couple hours to do all the morning ritual.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just delirious. How are you today?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm fine, but it's just kind of been a day where I've just been had minimal things on the schedule,
Mhm.
which is good. A multitude of things on the to-do list. So I did none of them.
Oh,
Yeah. I
just
cleaned
was
my
like
house,
giving
so I don't
yourself
know if I'm
a break.
procrastinating. Yeah,
I
yeah,
like that. You
yeah.
just,
I felt it was necessary.
well, it's nice when we can actually take them because, like, even with you, I know you will have 5,000 things to do on one day. So the days where you do have like a gap or have the option, it is nice just to
Yeah, when there's only 1,000 things to do.
ebb.
Yeah, I ebbed.
You ebbed.
I
So
ebbed.
this is our community discussion for everyone.
Hmm.
Welcome. This is our community discussion for wrapping up the conversation of ebbing and flowing.
Hmm.
It's funny that you started out with this because after we did our bonus content for Patreon the other day, when we were done with the recording, I was like, maybe the whole trick is like how we can balance is just by creating our own ebbs. So it's kind of like meditation in a way is like a way of ebbing, like intentional ebbing.
Hmm.
And so when we create these ebbs for ourselves instead of waiting for the universe to kind of like tell us to sit down, maybe then we have less of the experience of
Uh-huh.
drastic ones because we're starting to manage our own flow.
Yeah, yeah. I ebbed yesterday after we recorded bonus content.
Did you? How was
Yeah, it was good. And I almost didn't go to my yoga class because of it, because I was just like really ebbing.
you ebb too hard?
I ebbed too hard. But I did go to my yoga class. I did go.
Ebbs should come with like a warning label. Ebb it.
Yeah, do not ebb too much.
Don't ebb too hard.
Ebb on your own, but don't ebb too hard.
Oh, actually saying that, it reminds me of the 12th house, right? Like the energy of the 12th house where if we go into ourselves or ebb into ourselves, like we could in a higher octave, maybe, access our higher mind and go into, this deep spiritual intuitive space. But if you ebb too hard, you
Yeah.
you could run the risk of going into like delusion, illusion, confusion, all of
Yes.
those other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe
I
that's what it is. Like if
I
we create our ebbs, the universe will create situations that feel like ebbing too hard.
yeah. God, this is going real profound real fast.
I'm
I
wondering, I'm
wasn't
like,
ready for this.
well, people know what we're even talking about.
Yeah, I know. I know. I think I tried to do that. I think I tried to balance that earlier today because I cleaned my house. So as I was like dusting and sweeping and stuff, I decided to open Akashic records and go into them while I was cleaning just to see like what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did your
Uh,
furniture give you messages?
my furniture did not give me any messages. No. No.
Anything's possible.
It's
Well,
true.
it's funny you say that, and I wonder if it has anything to do with even the energy of this day. I had a meeting at 8 in the morning, and the whole time the person was talking to me, I was literally like pressing into my hands and like doing everything I could to try to stay like focused on what they were saying because it was like
Yeah.
information was just like coming in like channeling that I couldn't stop, and I was like, this is not appropriate timing. Like, what is happening? Yeah.
I
So
feel like you've been on that for the past couple of days at least.
Yeah, I have. And it's probably attributed to my personal ebbs. My
Oh.
my meditations this week have been different, different. And it's not because I'm meditating any differently, but it's kind of like what we've talked about over the last few weeks. We go through different cycles. And after coming out of this last cycle of like exhaustion and all that stuff I told you, whatever it was, sometimes we feel like crap when we are moving stuff out of the way, or we're like moving into a new cycle. And so coming out on the other side of that, it does feel like I'm experiencing more depth in connection, or a different texture in connection. I have no idea what's happening, but I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like for me, I've, speaking of ebbs and flows, the past 3 weeks have been so insane. 3 or 4 weeks have been so insane. And last week was the first week where I could kind of just like, I got over a hump and could kind of just like release everything. Wait, that was this past weekend. I take it back. Finished some stuff up the week before last. And then this weekend, I got over a hump where it's like, okay, like now I can totally just like, I can completely ebb because there's nothing requiring me.
Yeah.
Because of my body energy project. I keep showing up for this.
Thank
But
you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So it's like, I also know that there's more coming up in the near future, like very soon. So I'm kind of just like easing into this ebb and allowing it to give me the space rather than worrying about what its presence is.
Yeah. And even while you're saying that, it's reminding me of too that, a lot of times, say, for example, how I said we can create our own ebbs with like meditation more consistently, or not just a daily practice. Because I think sometimes when we hear practice, we think it's this thing of like, oh, I have to make sure I meditate once a day, like every morning or every evening. But the truth is, even when I am flowing well in my practice, there will be times where I meditate and it's not part of my routine. Like it's just, something may be coming up and I go into a meditative state because maybe I want to see something from a higher space, or like my intention for meditating is different than just sitting. You know what I mean?
The everyday stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that may be helpful too, of using that time for self-connection to intentionally look at or examine what's going on in your life, what you're feeling at any particular time, just because. And that can help as well with managing the ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
So it has been an interesting few days. And remember, I shared like a very personal story on the Patreon thing yesterday.
Yeah, so, we both did. So
yeah, we both did.
You want the juice.
Yeah.
You want to become an insider.
Right. So remember I said that I was like, oh, I just don't know how to navigate this one. I'll keep everyone posted.
Yes.
What's interesting is today, in one of my states of flow, I did have this like an aha moment of, you know what? I think I do understand how this is showing up for me, or like why, and like how to navigate through it. So I'm excited actually for our Dear Diaries, whatever the next cycle of those are, because I'm going to share the update with everybody of what I figured out.
Oh, that's exciting.
I know. Mm-hmm.
Is it going to fit in with our next topic?
I don't know what's our next topic.
I do. If you think of it, don't say it out loud.
Okay.
We have to wait.
I don't remember. But how have you been? I mean, like, because every time we do have these conversations, it's really interesting that we do have 2 weeks of a topic, because I think it really does give us space to, like, whatever our initial thoughts are, we process it, and then we come back and sometimes have some new insights around it. So I like that we have this kind of pattern. But has anything come up for you since our initial conversation where you're like, it's interesting? This whole ebb and flow with myself.
Yeah, looking at things from a higher perspective. So once like you can take a step back, because sometimes like the ebb, being in the ebb and the flow can feel kind of chaotic. So if you like can remove yourself from both of those components and view it from a higher perspective, it's really interesting what you'll see. And so like the past 3 weeks have been such an ebb and flow that I've literally just tried to put my life preserver on and stay afloat in the midst of it all. And after this weekend, that's I've kind of like had that space to just kind of let all of that go. And on the other side of that, being in the midst of the chaos of the ebb and the flow, I'm like things have pulled together and I see and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting because I think that we are the creators of our reality, and sometimes it's very confusing to understand why you would have created something.
Mm-hmm.
But to take a step back, even if said thing was 7 or 8 years in the making,
Right.
when that loop finally closes and you can perceive it and be like, whoa, all of this stuff for however long it took or whatever was purposeful. That to me is pretty incredible. And that's what happened
I have to
after this
ask you
weekend.
something about what you just said because you've been like killing it lately with the analogies and metaphors or knocking it out the box. I want to
Well,
ask,
thank you.
but I have to tell you, I don't know what it is about the way you look today. You look fun.
I do.
I think it's
Is
because
it?
we usually look like what I look like right now. Like we usually look like we're dragging ourselves from, work or
Oh
something.
yeah, I took a shower today.
Oh, well, so did I. Thanks. And I
And I
still,
did my hair. I did my hair and I have a little bit of makeup on. I just have mascara on and it might be the colors of the shirt.
you look like
Yeah.
real life Tiffy today.
Yeah, it's because I wasn't racing from like clients or teaching
Right.
yoga or yeah. Yeah.
It shows.
I
So,
also sat out in the sun for a little bit today by the ocean. So I think I got a little bit of rejuvenation back into my life. Thank you for saying
I'm
that and
not gonna
noticing.
go off into a brand new one. Okay. So
Do
what?
it.
No, 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 no. I want to ask you about what you said. The
You
life
gotta answer the
preserver.
call. Oh
The life
yeah, okay.
preserver. So
Yeah.
when you said that, and I was thinking like, oh, that's actually like a peaceful image. But I wanted to ask you, so what kind of state are you in when you feel like you're putting on a life preserver? And then what is it like to be in that state?
So that state, I'm going to reflect back on these past 3 weeks because there are so many things that happened and so many things I had to do. And a lot of those to dos were not for my life to some degree. Indirectly, they were, but it was
Yeah.
a higher priority for other people. And like places, appointments I had to show up to, things on the docket I had to achieve for somebody else. Again, there was a reward for me as well, but there were just mandatory things for a lot of other people. And like I said, there's also something good for me. So I had to do this. I couldn't just be like, forget it, because I let down other people and I couldn't be like, forget it because there's something for me within that as well. Um, and navigating, also trying to stay in my practice because I was given ample opportunity to turn a blind eye to something and not process for growth purposes.
Mm,
So I literally was just like, okay, I just have to do these things. And I put on my life preserver and I'm like, I'm just going to ebb and flow and like work against the tide if I have to, but like just do what has to be done and get out on the other side of it. Cause on the other side, I know that there'll be a place where I can rest. So it was literally like a to-do list, and it was a very energetic and emotionally taxing to-do list. But I also saw what was going to be rewarding about all of the things that I was getting done. So um, I think that's it. I had to keep my eye on the prize quite literally and
yeah,
just get through it.
that's interesting. It reminds
Even
me
getting tossed around by the waves.
even hearing you say that, that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the times where I do have a lot on my plate, and instead of just allowing myself to like go with the flow of getting things done, I get caught in my head sometimes and it feels chaotic and it feels like fighting against some tides,
Yeah.
trying to go back because I'm just stuck in thought when really I should just be bobbing along in my little life preserver. I don't know, but I like that one. It stuck out.
The life preserver did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I was making an analogy, and I was like, oh, what's I'm glad that you pulled that one out of there.
You've been like the analogy queen lately.
I
It's
do love analogies. I feel like it's a really great way of translating things.
Yeah, well, you have been doing a really good job with that lately.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you know, you're flowing.
Here and there.
Oh
Here and
my
there.
goodness. Wait, I had to tell you. So I saw you're clearly burning incense again today.
Oh,
What's
is that
happening?
really noticeable?
So I saw
It
it
calms me
twice.
down.
I
Okay.
saw the smoke twice, but the first time I saw it, it happened so quickly that I thought there was like a spirit
A
in your
ghost?
space. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not going to go off topic. But then I saw it the second time and noticed, okay, she's burning incense again.
Is that where you were going to go off topic? That's what you saw?
Yeah. Is it,
My phone is going to start ringing in a second. I apologize.
is
I
this
don't
your
know.
way of creating sacred space before we
I
have these
decline it.
conversations?
It just makes me feel better. I don't do it every time, but I think that I have innately created a sense of sacred space with it. So I did it because I was like, it feels like home kind of, it calms me down. So I think indirectly I created a sacred space with it. So now it's like, it's just this thing that I attach to.
It's funny you say, because now I do want to ask you about some tools or things that you do to create ebbs for yourself. But it's funny you say that because I used to burn incense at my old place all the time.
Uh-huh.
And since I moved, I really haven't.
Yeah.
And I did for the first time like last week. And it was crazy how the scent just like brought me back to feeling like at home. And I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I really need to do this more often because I was like Nag Champa queen before.
Yeah. I feel like at this point, we have to define ebbs because I feel like we've given ebbs two different definitions.
Oh, we totally have. So,
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that our listeners were following along with that. They're like, what are these bitches talking about?
well, I feel like if you haven't listened to the previous episode, we were talking more about like spiritual ebbs and flow, like our spiritual practice, like falling in and out of, that, or I don't know. I forget what we talked about last time. But it was our conversation that we just had for the patrons that made me think about it in another way of like, you know what, not just in everything we've discussed already, but literally that like coming back into myself in a way that isn't, it's not a bad thing. Do you know? Because I think sometimes
Yeah.
we hear ebbs and flows, like we think of like the push pull of situations.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
After the conversation we had yesterday, I thought of it more of not a push pull, but more of a like going in at,
Conscious retirement.
yes,
Yeah.
like coming in intentional to
Yeah.
allow myself to come back out with more intention. And
Right.
yeah, so
Yeah.
creating like a ebb and flow that is a supportive thing and not a
Well, I
tough.
think that's really cool that you highlighted that because we started off, I think, this series with the idea that when we're ebbing in our practice, we're not paying attention to our practice.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the reason. But also, what I'm hearing now is like recognizing that ebb not being in practice is a time that you could utilize to go back into the practice with more intention, like you said, being more mindful. So it's both of them. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to highlight for our listeners, like ebbing, yeah, isn't that negative thing necessarily, but we may perceive it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And really, as we always talk about, is how you choose to direct your perception is
Yeah.
what's important.
And that was the key for me with the conversation we had yesterday, because I was like, well, what about when we are the ones that choose to ebb? That would
Mm-hmm.
feel much different than feeling like we were thrown into it in a tailspin because we didn't nurture ourselves. And a lot of times we don't. And it's not that we're like, like we just get an autopilot, we get busy, we, have so many things to think about, blah, 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 blah. And then we hit a wall and then we're like, oh God, and that's a lot different than feeling like I'm retreating or going in because it's my choice to, and then I'm coming back out intentionally, going in, intention out and out and out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also why I think it's interesting that we have these conversations over a 2-week period, because it does let us really chew on it and look at things from all different angles. That's why I like it.
We ebb and flow with our idea of the topic.
Honey, we ebb and flow all through every conversation.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so aside from the incense, if you're creating like an intentional ebb for you, what do you do to create that space or that sacred space for yourself?
I don't think I've ever thought about it that way before, actually, to be honest. So, I will take note going forward if I do, because most of the time I've been like I've been not intentionally ebbing and just ebbing in my practice, and then judging myself for it, or like being like, whoa, what's this now? Like, experiencing that, is this stuff really real, or like, why am I not applying it, or what external factors are contributing to this perceived ebb?
It's funny. You write down? Well, I have a pen in my hand, and I say,
give me the pen.
I'm gonna use this thing. Could you take it?
I got one too. Yeah, I got one.
Said it reminded me of like how there's a lot of skepticism that so many of us experience in this work, and I don't think people always admit it because they don't want to seem not spiritual. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that would be a great conversation for us to have one day. And I will admit right now, like to this day, I'm skeptical. So,
Yeah, same. I spent like several months in it recently.
It happens.
But again, I think that's the beauty of taking a step away, because if you're skeptical of something and then something comes up and it's one of those things where it's like, you can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, okay. And it throws you back into your practice.
Do we say that? I feel like I say that so many times, like, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. And then somewhere in between those spaces are like,
yeah, maybe I made it up. Yeah, then you come back to like, I know what my mind is capable of. Maybe I made this up.
Yeah.
But what that comes back down to is, what is it that you want to believe, and how do you want to perceive your reality?
Okay, I'm going to save it for when we actually talk about this.
Oh.
What I will say now is that my skepticism isn't, at this point, it's not, I'm skeptical of my experiences. Oftentimes, I'm skeptical of what I see going on outside of my experience.
Like reactions to your experience?
No, just some things that other people do or say. I'm just kind of like, really? And it's interesting that sometimes that's my response, because I have these really strange experiences too. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes I do.
Oh, you mean your response to their strange experiences?
Yeah, not people I know. It's usually like stuff I hear, or people that are like, I don't know them personally. You know what I mean? There is a moment where I'll catch myself of like, really? And then I think like, of course it's possible. Like, think of all the weird things you've experienced and encountered, and like what people you've had sessions with and taught class to, what they've experienced and encountered, like, So I think for me, it's probably more of a skepticism of a stranger. Maybe that's more fair. I'm skeptical if I don't really know you that well.
Yeah. This is a rabbit hole I want to dive headfirst into right now, but it's too off topic. We got to save it.
Like, would you guys forgive us if we ebb and flow right into a whole nother situation?
Yeah. You've seen it here first.
Okay, I'm going to try to bring it back.
Yeah, do it.
When I am, and I didn't think of my meditation or creating sacred space for myself before. I never thought of it as a ebbing either before, just,
I actually, now that I hear you saying it, sorry to cut you off, but it actually makes me feel like I'm flowing when I create the sacred space.
Yeah.
I'm flowing in my spirituality.
But that's the whole thing. It's almost like you ebb to flow.
Mm-hmm.
Where did they find us? No, but so when I am in a space of needing to kind of retreat or take a step back or connect with myself, there's a couple of things. One, I have a particular chair that I like to meditate in, and I've done my meditations in this one, my blue chair.
Mm-hmm.
You know it well. for years now. So it's like I've created like this energetic buildup in this chair because I really don't sit in it unless I'm meditating or like doing readings for people.
Yeah.
And then I have certain crystals that help me to like feel like, well, this one doesn't really help me ground. This one I hold more so when I'm intending to go into like a higher space and be like be more receptive. But anyway, there are certain things that I do. And like I said, the incense the other day, like just smelling the Nag Champa again, like put me immediately in this space of like home and groundedness, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say for people, if you are considering creating like an ebb for yourself, one that is supporting your flow, pay attention to the little elements and things that do make you feel like safe to go into yourself or take you out of distraction or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because I was trying to, I have a friend who just commissioned me to make some wedding jewelry. And like I said, I was cleaning my house earlier, even though I was like, oh, this is on the to-do list. It's not like really totally on me right yet. But I was like, I do want to get started on making this jewelry, but I decided to clean first. And so part of that was like, and we've talked about this too, the fine line between procrastination and actually creating the space to do it. But I needed to like clean up my work area and get stuff out of the way in order to like get into the flow of creativity because it was too cluttered at that point in time. And I was like, I need to clear out some of this clutter in order to get into my flow because recognizing what's going to block your flow is really important as well.
Well, that's a good one. It's funny you say that because, you know, you think of spring cleaning and then like even like, did we talk about a spiritual spring cleaning? Am I making that up? I think that was in my newsletter. I don't know. But that too, I mean, it's funny that like all of these different components contribute to sometimes us feeling stuck or not feeling in our flow, exactly what you said. So that's a good idea to declutter. Yeah.
I loved watching your epiphany just then. It was really fun.
Honey, I don't know how I'm functioning right now. I am so sleepy. And what's funny is I'm not looking at the camera, but I just was feeling in my space like every time it's my turn to talk, I'm like, do you know, like I'm like looking all over the room.
That's what happened to me last time. Last time we did this, I was the space cadet.
Yeah. Better Shungite.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need an anchor. I have a funny story, really quick. I officiated my first wedding this past weekend.
Oh, right. How did it go?
Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it.
Wait. Before you tell the story about the wedding, what did you wear?
Oh, well, this is the perfect segue because this is what I was going to talk about because we were talking about anchoring. Like I was thinking you need an anchor to like keep you down to settle you. So I wore this yellow wrap dress that I have. It's like a goldish yellow. And I had like a professional, like something that made me look up like a professional, like a reverend, you know, like a justice of the peace little jacket. I had some flat shoes on, but the dress was a wrap dress. And I walked out of my house and it was super effing windy that day. And I was like, well, whoa, I did the whole Marilyn Monroe. I'm like, this isn't going to be good if I'm the reverend.
Oh my God.
And it was at the beach where it was going to be even windier.
Oh,
so,
honey.
Yeah, I went back into my house and I got my box full of safety pins and I brought them with me and I safety pinned the wrap part together because I'm like, we cannot have any wardrobe malfunctions. So I put the safety pins in there, and then I got out there. It was still pretty windy, and I got nervous about it. I was like, we're gonna need some grounding. So I took some keys on my keychain and I pinned them to the inside of my dress so that it would anchor it down, so it would create a little bit of weight to keep it from blowing as easily in the wind. So I need to pin a key on you.
Every episode, not everyone, but on a lot of them, I always say, like, you guys don't even know. She's like secretly a genius. And she's like, she's, I'm just going to say, like, that is like some kind of creative genius. Who would think to anchor their dress down from the inside?
It was necessary. It was very necessary.
I love you so much.
I love you so much.
I love your brilliance. So it worked?
Thank you. Yeah, it worked. Yeah.
Wait, so I have to ask, did you have like one key per pin?
No, it was just like just one key. I put it like right in the middle where I knew that it would just be just enough weight and not to like show up on the other side or, you
I
know,
love you so much.
be too heavy where the wind like clanged them together and they'd be like, what's up her dress?
Okay, now when we get off this thing, remind me for you to bring this up again.
Okay, I'll write it down.
Topic.
Can I borrow your pen?
Here.
Okay, I'm ready.
So how, I'm saying remind me about the key again. The key.
Oh, okay.
So,
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Chris. She said I would have changed just saying hi. She's a Virgo, of course.
It was too late. It was too late. I was already committed.
So practical. Hey, Stano. What was I going to tell you, Tiffy? So how was it being an efficient, though?
It was wonderful. I loved it. So I wasn't nervous until like right when it started. But I think I picked up on other people's energy, like right as like the sermon started to begin, I think I was starting to pick up on other people's energy and I had to recognize that and I had to like cut it off. So I did that and I was breathing into my feet to ground. And it went really well. And, it wasn't until the very end where I said, I now pronounce you husband and wife, where I got super choked up and I was like, I don't even know if it came all the way out.
Wait, time out. Are these the people you know or the ones you don't know?
I met the couple 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know them all that well.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. But you say like now you would feel comfortable doing it again. Like I could hand out like your card, like refer.
Oh yeah. I love it. Yeah.
So did you create the whole thing or did they say?
Predominantly, we did traditional vows. They didn't write their own. So we just did traditional ones, but I pretty much wrote most of the opening and they gave me like their story of their relationship. So I edited that some. And, then I got some other information from other places and I kind of tweaked to that and edited it some. So I would say about 70% of it was my own writing.
So the other one that you're going to do, because you have another one coming up too,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in April.
Going to have like a different feel to it, or is it going to be the same type of?
I'm not sure yet. I have to send that document to the bride, actually, probably today.
I always wondered what it would be like to go to a wedding, because everyone that I've gone to, it's like a priest or somebody, like it's connected to somebody's religion.
Yeah.
But I always wondered, like, if you had a friend, especially like one that was a tree hugger, crystal lover, witchy woo woo, whatever kind of friend,
right,
that is a little different, if they were going to almost said facilitate your wedding, you know what I'm saying, officiate your wedding for you. Like, I wonder if it would be like a whole like little ritual thing, if there would be crystals, if people would have flowers.
You mean my wedding in particular?
No, like one that you officiate. Like, would it be all,
Because they would have me if I would make it? I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll find out because you'll officiate my wedding.
No, I would be a crying mess, okay? I could not officiate your wedding. I don't want to officiate your wedding. At most, I want to be standing in the bridesmaids collective close enough so I could see like every expression on your face, but I'm gonna be boo-hooing. I can't do that.
Shit.
No, ma'am. Mia, you could have our own little ritual before the ceremony with the bride.
Yeah, that sounds great. I love this.
I'll be like the behind the scenes to officiate something.
Yeah.
Once we go down that aisle.
Yeah.
No.
Let's bring this back though, since Kristen's here. Kristen, how has your week been with ebbing and flowing in your practice? If you would like to share that with us, you don't have to, but
let me tell you something. First of all, she is just really sweet. Let me tell you why.
I'm listening.
Like my first best friend of my life.
Oh, that's cute.
No, for real. And
I believe you.
No, she really is.
Again, I'm not believing you.
honey, she might, who knows what she thinks of us, but she might just be being nice because,
Oh, to watch, she's just watching us to be nice.
Yeah, because listen, if she was doing this, I would be right there too with my popcorn, even if I had no idea what she was talking about. Watch it from my stano.
She's got her computer on mute and she's over there cooking dinner in the kitchen.
Oh, that would be terrible. Side note. Okay, I guess
we are ebbing out of our topic hard right now.
I'm going to blame it on the community. I'm going to say, if you guys were here to share with us about flowing, we would have stayed on topic, but we have talked it under the rug.
Don't ridicule them. We need them. Come back to us.
I'm trying to do like motherly guilt.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
Isn't that how they do it? I don't know. I was going to say, oh, so random. Have you ever listened to a podcast on Fast Forward?
No.
Okay, well, I didn't know it was possible. So all of you listening to the Mind Body Energy Project, if you are listening on iTunes, you have the option of listening to us in Fast Forward if you just feel like we're going way too slow. I had a couple.
Oh, really?
I've had a couple of people tell me that they listen to Reiki Radio and Fast Forward. I'm like, what? I already sound like a mouse. Can you imagine what I sound like in Fast Forward? Like, oh, so I went to iTunes and there's a little button where you can listen to it in like warp speed if you don't have time or you just want to keep it moving.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So that's like a PSA, I guess.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So can you tell us what we're talking about next time? Because I don't remember. Do we really have a topic? Well,
we discussed it. Okay, I'll tell you. Bitch, why are you crying? Okay, all right. Since we're here now, we're doing this. You guys, this is what happened. Yolanda and I.
I'm so glad I forgot. Oh my God, that was so unexpected. And now my computer is overheating. Okay.
So we were talking about topics to talk about, and I shared an experience with Yolanda where, because I started crying and one of my friends, I think I may have scarred him a little bit. And so we're like, oh, well, we should probably talk about like dealing with other people's emotions. And so we decided to call it, Bitch, why are you crying? And this laughter you're hearing from Yolanda, I've never seen this woman laugh so hard before in my life. So I kept it going.
Oh my God.
And then I sent her a picture with Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, Bitch, why are you crying?
Oh my God. I'm getting hot too.
I know, me too.
Well, it's hilarious because when we were talking about it and just thinking about how people get uncomfortable with other people's emotions, right? And like sometimes that's how people really want to respond to you, but they don't. So
yeah.
It was hilarious. And then, like just the way she says it, like how could not lose your whole mind? Like, I can't.
But also because I do think taking people's emotions is very serious, and I want to hold space and like really make somebody feel safe and secure and comfortable with expressing the emotions that you have to, because I am a firm believer that repressed emotions and repressed energy is what leads to physical wellness.
Totally.
I'm a hard believer in that. So I do think that processing emotions is important. But there's this fine line where it's like, it's not like process it, but don't attach to it because it's not that big a deal. But also then it's like, people don't want you to express it because it makes them all uncomfortable because they have to do theirs, So like, it's the whole title, Bitch, why are you crying? It's kind of ironic. And also, every time I say it, it gets Yolanda turns
I know,
up.
I need you to stop saying it, so like, don't make me cry off my concealer, okay? We're live. Thank you. I don't have like a makeup brush over here where I can rip
It
off.
is my new favorite party trick.
God. That is so funny. No, but yeah, no, I think that is a good topic to talk about. Yeah, like how do we deal with the discomfort of other people's emotions? Because I think I'm much better at it now, but there was a period in my life like when people were emotional, like I didn't know what to do. I was just like, ugh. Like I would get really uncomfortable because I wouldn't know how to support them. But then I also had times where I felt like just the way you said it, because I didn't understand what someone was being emotional about. I was like, could you just get it together, please? But but now I've worked on myself. So good. I'm doing a better job than I used to. Cheryl said, I feel like I've missed much. I am on a 3 a.m. to 12 shift. Whoa. And I'm adjusting and going to bed so early. I need to catch up. Oh my God.
Yeah, that is long.
That is, now I feel crazy for it. I said this at the beginning of this, Cheryl, that I woke up at 5 a.m. today. And so I'm delirious right now. But look at that perspective. I'm going to just.
And how perspective changes our reality.
Yeah. When does your schedule change? Like, when do you get to come back to a normal schedule? Kristen said, I'm also uncomfortable when people get emotional and don't know what to say. Yeah. That's a really, really hard one. But then one of the things I think that's helped me with it too is knowing that I think a lot of us feel that way. So I think people are kind of forgiving of us fumbling around with trying to be supportive because most people are uncomfortable with not knowing what to say,
I think the best way of dealing with it is just hug.
Yeah.
Just hugging.
Well, so is that really going to be a topic?
I don't know. I mean, it was on the list. I'm writing the list right now.
Well, that might be our topic for the next go round.
May or may not be.
It may not be.
Yeah.
And Cheryl, if anything is coming up for you too, Love Bug, Kristen, anyone, if you listen in the archives too, if there's something that has been coming up for you lately, like repetitive, or you feel curious about anything, like let us know, because we love you guys' suggestions too. Cheryl said, I just changed this one this Tuesday. Ooh, it's better than the alternate shift, which is what I've been on for 2 years. Wow.
Oh, that's good. That's good that it's a better change.
But do you just like crash out as soon as you get home in the afternoon, or do you just go to bed early? 3 a.m. Holy smokes.
3 a.m. is a really good time to meditate.
It's the witching hour.
Yeah.
Do you know why they call it the witching hour? Can we do an episode about that? I need to know let's figure out all the stuff they say. Let's break down the origins of all the things they say.
Ooh, I like this. Yeah. Yeah. Can we also figure out who they is?
I don't think so. Maybe.
They is us, right? To some
no.
degree.
They are much older than us because we wouldn't have come up with this foolery.
But it's all oneness, right? It's all oneness.
Listen, who have we been today? Like, where
I don't know.
Podcast taking place?
I don't know.
This podcast is brought to you by Venus.
Oh, is it? Tell us about that.
I mean, clearly we're not here.
Clearly. Nice try.
Clearly, you need to get back on the spaceship, Tiffany. Cheryl said, I try to stay busy by going to the gym and yoga before going home. Oh, wow. I try to be in bed by 7 since I get up at 1. What? She gets up at 1:40.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Knock it off.
Yep.
Wow.
So amazing.
I love that she goes to the gym and to do yoga. Like, I mean, Can I be you when I grow up?
Yeah.
You sound like Tiffany.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about how I used to manage that when I used to work for corporate, and I would have to get up and go to the gym at like 5 a.m. in order to like be able to handle my life. This is a much unhealthier way, of course. But I would have sugar-free Red Bulls underneath my bed. I'm so sorry. I tried to catch that before it rang. I would have sugar-free Red Bulls underneath my bed, and I would just like wake up and drink it and then go to the gym and then go to my job that I hated. It was a bad cycle. I broke it.
No, when I did my daily yoga, I would do it after work. And even though it was like my personal life was stressful and then work was stressful. So for me, the end of the day, it was like a great way to decompress. And then like
Well, this was before I found yoga, so clearly, like, sugar-free Red Bull is not the route to go, people. Let me just tell you.
Oh, she said she was hoping that this shift would free up her afternoons for Reiki sessions and seeing grandbabies. Woo!
Oh, that's good.
Exciting.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you do get a chance to practice and do all that, like, please share with us. I would love to hear people's experiences, sessions.
Yeah.
So much fun. Oh, it's good stuff. So what are you going to do tonight, babe? Are you done?
No, I have to teach a yoga class at 6.
Oh.
In an hour. I have to teach it in an hour.
Okay. Well, I am thankful that we did this conversation, obviously, because, like, Charlotte, even if you go back to the beginning of this, our thoughts from the previous conversation have evolved.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So I am glad for the new ways of looking at the ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool to see how it evolved just in our 2 weeks of covering the topic, our perspective of it.
I kind of want to do something like, can we talk about something that we haven't really touched on before, like really walking the line? Not like aliens, but like something.
Yolanda wants to get out there.
Like something like in the bag.
Sure. Yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah, so let us know, like, if there's something you guys want to talk about that's, like, in the realm of all of this stuff, whatever you like to label it as.
Yeah.
Do you have any that come to mind?
I was thinking about woodland fairies, but I don't know why.
Woodland fairies?
Yeah. I think I was going to use it as a joke, but then the time passed, so I got over it.
I don't know much about fairies.
I don't know either. I was kind of just joking.
And
I don't know if they're real or not.
No, there's a lot of people that, do fairy work and work with fairies and this, but I haven't personally had the experience of working with them. Although there was one person that I had a session with and a Reiki session, and it looked like who showed up as their guides in the room, they looked like what we would think of fairies, but they were like big. They were like human people size. They weren't
interesting.
They weren't like the way we think of like Tinkerbell or something. They were
interesting.
Anyway, if you guys have something,
we're obviously open to like really crazy topics too. So
yeah, and I will tell you, I'll admit, a lot of it is not. Well, none of it really is crazy to me. But
do you see that? Kristen says we're having a fairy festival in town this weekend, so there are fairies. How about that?
Yeah, but she also lives not far from Salem, so. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, Cheryl said she's in an adjustment period, so hopefully it'll be a good shift for her. That is really, really cool. And yeah, the fairy festival. Are you going to the fairy festival, Chris? I wonder if her daughter would be interested, because her daughter's young, be interested in going.
I would be interested to go. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, because I was thinking the other day, there are so many experiences I've had, like bringing this back 360. At the beginning of this, we were talking about, how sometimes I'm skeptical, but I've had the craziest, like most interesting experiences, have seen things, just wow, all over the map. And I don't think I've talked about the majority of it on any podcast, like not here, not my podcast, anywhere. And, some of those topics are really interesting. So let us know. Kristen is an hour and a half from Salem, and her daughter is interested. Yeah. So if you go, honey, if you take pictures, post some for us so we can see.
Yeah.
Everybody dressed up like fairies.
It'll be fun.
Well, honey, I hope you have a wonderful yoga class.
Thank you. I'm tired.
Chris, it was good to see you. Cheryl, it was good to see you.
Yes, thank you, ladies, for showing up.
I'm exhausted. My brain is tired, but clearly I'm like, wow, I'm like a live wire. So
yeah.
Maybe I need to go do some yoga.
You want to teach my class for me?
Not on your life.
Fair enough.
I did yoga teacher training, and I never taught a yoga class.
Oh, interesting.
Other than the ones you have to teach as part of
yeah.
the certification process. Honey, when I was done with that class, I was like, and scene. Thank you. It's been
I thought so too.
We love you too, Cheryl.
Yeah, Cheryl.
Okay, so when will we be back? Next Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So send us your ideas for topics before then, because we're going to.
Yeah, and for the Patreons, we're newly in April. There is new month energy update for you for April.
That's been up.
Also bonus content. So get into your Patreon account and
our Dear Diaries.
Get after that. Mm-hmm.
Cheryl is like, listen, I'm just trying to catch up on podcast.
Yeah.
But Cheryl, you can listen to us and fast forward.
And good night.
And scene. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.